Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sandbox Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday stream. I am
Mhm.
Alex Flores, aka Kamisazi, joined here in voice, mind, body, and soul by Lucas is right. How you doing, Lucas?
I am excited, Alex. I'm working to contain said excitement, but I'm doing a very bad job of it. So, how are you?
I am hyped as heck
Oh
because
man.
we are do. If you've seen the title, you already know what we're going to be talking about. It's right there in the title. We're talking about 0.10. It's not quite live yet. It may go live during this stream, potentially. We're ironing out the final kinks and making sure that it's ready for everybody. I can't give an exact time, but it's imminent. It's like it's here. It's now.
Mhm.
If now is like anytime in the next like 24 hours. Um, it's about perspective, folks. So we are actually going to go through what the features of 0.10 are. You are you're gonna like them because I like them, and I think you watch me because we like the same things a
I have
lot
a
of the
question.
times.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question right
Well,
now.
what's your question?
What you have seen and read and dug into, can I ask what is your favorite feature so far? Just give us one little grain, one little nugget, one little teaser.
There's several of them that I like a lot,
You got to
but
choose one.
if I had to put it down to one, um, it's probably going to be extra controls, and you'll see what that means. We'll get there. Hey,
Mm.
Tobin Craft guessed it. Key inputs. Um, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I feel like was it Tobin Craft who mentioned something about raycasting on the other stream, and I was
No, it
like,
was not because Tobin
"Well,
Crafts, it's their first time chatting.
oh, is it?
It's what it says.
Oh, the
So
Bitfox
welcome, Tobin.
leaderboard was already a feature in 0.9. It just is not available to all users yet. So leaderboard feature already exists. Just it's in the process of being worked on to a point where everybody can use it. So uh, I don't know if leaderboard is going to be opened up to everybody during 0.10 or not, but it is an existing feature. Just it's just limited in access right now. Let's see.
Mhm.
I'm scrolling through the chats here, make sure I didn't miss anything. We're adding Superman 64 rings. I mean, you could do that already. There's swimming, and you could have players swim through rings. Uh,
Hold up. Superman 64. I never played that one.
that's the one that everybody like really likes to hate on.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
where Superman has like a really awkward fly animation, and then it's like it just immediately like throws you into this game where you have to like fly through these rings, and you have very limited time, uh and then you fail the quests. And I've seen people go back and review and give it like better reviews, going like, hey, if you realize you don't have to do that stuff, it's a lot better. um I, it is a piece of game in history that is not favorably viewed upon. But anyway, yeah, if you wanted to do Superman 64 rings, flying through them, or swimming through them, technically, you could do that right now in 0.9. Um,
Mhm.
but we've got one more thing. Do we have
What?
a giveaway form ready?
We do not.
Okay, let's get that ready.
I had to change
Um,
it up real quick, but it'll be ready in a second.
Yeah, let's get that out there because we got a really big giveaway too. Some people were wondering like if they saw a video yesterday and they are
Okay.
wondering. Actually, I think I'm gonna start with the video, and we'll
Ooh,
just let
good call.
people. It's only like 16 seconds long. So we're gonna start with that video and just give people a little taste of what we're gonna talk about later. And by later, I mean like less than 5 minutes later.
You won't have to wait too much.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to wait very long. This is like watching a trailer for the movie you're sitting in the theater to watch.
Ooh.
And
Be a good call. I don't know why movies don't do that more. It's like, hey, you want to be excited about the movie you already paid
right.
for? Well, get even more excited.
It's like the opening theme song to a TV show where they just like tell you the plot of the show and like show you clips of like the entire season coming up. So you're like,
what's
who's
your favorite
that guy?
theme song
Who's
ever?
that guy? And then you don't find out who they are for like 10 episodes, but like you've seen them every single episode in the opening
Drives
credits.
you batty.
Yeah.
What's your favorite theme song? What's your favorite theme song ever?
Probably like the American Digimon theme song.
Ooh.
That's a pretty strong contender.
Okay. Batman Beyond was pretty good.
Just the 90s X-Men.
Oh my god, I was just gonna say that my number 2 on that list is the original X-Men. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, and it gets everybody hyped.
Yeah. That was a weird show because I was only like 5 years old, and so I like had a vague recollection of seeing it at somebody's house, and I was just like, what is this? This is so cool. And then I didn't find out till like the X-Men movies came out, and I was like, that's what that was. All right. I'm finding this video. 1 second here. 1 second.
Also, today's giveaway obviously is not for an orange hat. So if you are out there watching this, and you've already won an orange hat, and you're like, oh man, I can't join the giveaway. You could join the giveaway. Every single person in the chat should be filling this out today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually gonna say what it is. Well, I'll wait till you put the link in. Well, let me know when you're ready with the link, and then I'll explain what it is. All right. So I found the video here.
Got the link. Dropping it in now.
Oh, okay. All right. For the first 100 people who fill out the form, you are guaranteed to get a common catalyst.
What else, Alex?
We are also giving away 20 uncommon catalysts and 2 rare catalysts.
That's number 3.
And
there's more.
A Rabbids avatar.
He's lost his mind.
I don't know which Rabbids avatar it is, so don't ask.
At that point, I don't really think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it's a Rabbids avatar. I don't know
which one. Rabbids avatar.
So the first 100 people who fill out the form are getting a common catalyst. And then once we close the form, we're going to keep an eye on it to when it hits like around 100. Or, if people aren't that interested in the giveaway, they don't have to, maybe we'll get an hour into the show and go like, we've only got like, a few, a dozen people wanted catalysts. Then we'll divide up the common catalysts among those people. And then we're going to do a drawing on on everybody who entered to get the other catalysts and the avatar. So if you want some catalysts or an avatar,
come get some.
Fill it out.
Maybe both. You might get an avatar and catalyst.
How many thousands of common catalysts per person? It's one catalyst per person, unless not everybody fills out the form, and then we'll divide up, how it fits. All right. That form is getting filled out. It should be in the chat. Lukus, can we make sure that gets on X?
It's already
Twitter?
there.
It's the first time I've called it X, and it didn't feel right. It tasted
Did it feel dirty? Did that feel dirty? It made me. I think I need a shower. Pandy yells at me when I say X. I say X, Twitter X.
Nah, it was not right.
Good. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Got it.
I had to wash that down. Gross. All right. Let's go. Let me make sure that we've got audio on the thing. It's only 16 seconds long, so I have no idea how loud this is going to be. Chrome's muted, that's why. There we go. Woo! Let's restart. All right. We're going to put it on loop. We're going to full screen it. And we're just going to bask in the glory here. It's not a lot to go off with 16 seconds. This video released yesterday. And I can already see a few features, so I'm just gonna try to quick fire off what of them I see. So we got coming soon, GameMaker 0.10. I'm seeing big variables. I'm seeing raycasting. I'm seeing controls. I'm seeing ballistics. I'm seeing.
It's all tornado. That's all I need to see.
The tornado, I feel like that VFX was already in there. I'm not entirely sure what's up with the tornado or the jumping around. There's new HUD features. There's new stuff with VFX. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I thought the tornado was in 0.9. All right.
Leave it to me to get excited for something that's already been here.
I don't think I've seen anybody use it on that scale.
Nope.
C. Why is he saying C? What?
I said C in the chat if you want to win. I didn't say it was going to actually increase anybody's odds. I just wanted to see a bunch of people type C.
Oh, like F's in the chat, except we're crouching. You know?
Yeah.
All right.
Why do people say F? What's with the letter F?
It's a meme. I think it's from either Call of Duty or Battlefield. I'm pretty sure it's Call of Duty. There was a interactive cutscene where you could like pay your respect to a fallen comrade being buried. So you'd like go up to the coffin and you'd press the F key to pay respects. So people say F's in the chat because you're feeling bad for whoever's had the rough time. I think it was COD. I haven't played all of the COD's campaigns. They never. Yeah, this stream's not to talk about Call of Duty, but I do enjoy.
No, it's not.
I do enjoy some
anyway.
multiplayer Call of Duty. I didn't used to. I used to just play for the story, for the campaign, because they usually had really good campaigns. And then now it's all about the multiplayer. It has been for everybody else besides me. I really just want Call of Duty single player collection to go on sale, like $100 for all the campaigns, totally stripped of multiplayer. I just want to see all the stories. I want to experience all those stories. Those games almost never go on a good sale. And who's still playing World at War multiplayer? Like, I don't need that. I don't need to pay the full price for the multiplayer experience on all of those. Come on, Activision, throw me a bone. Anyway,
I'm still playing the original Dune game, the one where you had actual pieces that you created, like create a harvester to go get your spice. I mean, we're talking pre-World of Warcraft. Yeah,
that's a ways back. All right, back to Sandbox.
I'm not actually playing it. It's on floppy disks. I can't play it anymore.
Oh, well, there's emulators. There's whole websites that are dedicated to like emulating DOS games and stuff. You just play it in the browser. You can actually find a lot of stuff that way. All right. We've got, Becky was in the chat. Becky, are you still here? Can I share this link? I mean, people could like read it off the top and type it out if they wanted to.
He's in the chat?
She was in the chat.
Becky,
can I share the link?
Yes.
Can I paste it? I mean, it's there. It's there. Like, people can get to it anyway. I don't see why not. I'm going to do it. She beat me to it. Becky just shared in the chat. She beat me to the punch.
She is so quick with them. Those digital fingers.
I was asking permission. She's like, never mind. I'm going to do it. Don't, like, why are you taking so long, Alex? Why are you drawing this out? All right. We're going to go through this whole page. Becky's been working so hard on this page. There might be some stuff that updates. There's certainly a lot of new 0.10 stuff that's going to be filling out the rest of Gitbook here. But we are going to go through what's on here and give you the scoop on what should be available very, very soon. I'm going to keep an eye on my email just in case it goes live, and then we'll pull it up on stream.
Okay.
All right. So, GameMaker 0.10, Elevate, Engage, Explore. The Game Maker 0.10 update is packed with powerful new features and improvements for creators and players. Enhanced creation tools, immersive gameplay and audio features, enhanced social and community interaction.
Ain't no party like a panda pop's party, like a panda pop's party. Whoop whoop.
Speaking of enhanced social interaction,
Strong 3C upgrades and optimized performance.
No. Oh, no, cancel. Oh, funk.
hey Alex,
What's up?
you think what I'm thinking?
We can leave them up. It's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't mind. It gives me a second to breathe because if
Hmm.
I'm not reminded to breathe, I may just like just keep talking and my lungs might just come flopping out of my nose or something.
I mean, that's fair.
All right. So, explore.
Ain't no party like a panda pop's party, like a panda pop's party. Whoop whoop.
Did you do that one, Lucas?
I did not.
Oh.
Or you could look at the screen and see. It was Madden sick, I think. Well done, by the way.
The
Ain't no
grin
party
on
like
your
a panda
face
pop's
made
party,
me
like a
think that
panda
it
pop's
was
party.
you.
Whoop whoop.
All right. Explore creative possibilities, new and reworked behaviors, components, and rules for more immersive and varied gameplay. So, spawn points.
Ain't no party like a panda pop's party, like a panda pop's party.
Tell us
Whoop
about
whoop.
spawn points, Alex. A very important aspect of any gaming system.
Go West is saying waste those sandcastles because Go West knows that if you save up your sandcastles, you can get some cooler stuff. Not that go ahead and redeem them for the sounds and the.
We're not going to tell you how to live your life.
Yeah, just spend it how you want, but there is some cool high ticket stuff if you wait around. It's not always available. Sometimes it'll go on a cooldown, but when it is there, you might want it. The Bitfox says, I think I filled in my Twitch instead of my username. Yeah, we only need the wallet address.
I got you, boo-boo.
As long as the wallet address is correct, we're going to send it.
We have multiple points of verification in there just so in case one thing goes wrong, like just happened where somebody accidentally misfills one slot, we have multiple others that we can get to for correct information.
Wayward says, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. How do you know? How do you know, Wayward?
I mean, I'm going to go off of purely one fact, and that's age.
Yeah, I think Wayward's close to my age, yeah.
Unless you were like a real, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, I'm going to go with
We're not
age.
going to go there, Lucas.
Yeah, I stopped myself.
Structure teams and avatar features, spawn points behavior, multiplayer. Create multiple spawn points, assign teams, and set equipment via the avatar's portal asset. So we had experiences in the game jams that used some team sort of features with mixed success. It was very complicated, and it did not always work as intended. So now teams is actually a built-in feature. You're going to be able to assign players to teams at the start of a game. Are you planning to demo the features? I was planning to demo the features. We may demo them. It depends on if it releases now. So I'm basically just watching my email while all this goes on because it may go live while we're live, in which case I'll pull them up. We'll see. There's a lot of moving parts. But what I can show you is this, because this part is up. Avatar feature multiplayer components. Add and customize health, light, visual effects, and the play sound component for all avatars or teams. So this means that you could do like a red team and a blue team by having some sort of trailing effect so that way you can see what the other players are, whatever their avatar may be. Yeah,
that's
pretty cool. This is also like indicating like there's more customizations coming to the players. For a long time, we've had the components feature available for players, but the only component that was available was health. So we're going to see what other sorts of things this can bring about when we have more components available on the players themselves. Integrate precise ranged collisions. So we've got a projectile behavior now. Fire projectiles with custom trajectory and speed trigger a message on collision. I can't really tell from this. Is this single player or multiplayer? It is. It appears to be multiplayer. It's a very tiny thing on the animation there, but it does appear to be multiplayer. So for a couple years now, people have been making projectile sort of things in the sandbox by doing all sorts of like smashing collisions together to spit a ball out, and it's been really entertaining, but it's can be very difficult to control and to fine tune. And this is a whole feature designed specifically to do that all. I don't know if I can pause this. I wanted to see if I could. Here we go. We can just scroll down. So we've got the start with experience, message required. That's typical for most of our behaviors. We got projectile force, projectile trajectory, or the angle it goes out. Look at direction. So maybe we can tell it to face something if we turn that on. Apply gravity. So you could have a projectile that goes out without gravity. Just go directly to where it's supposed to go, or you can have it arcing with the gravity. The collider, I'm not sure exactly what that will do. Maybe that's the area, the size of the collision on it. Collision targets destroy after collision. Message on collision. So you want to break down a wall. When the object hits the wall, sends out a message to destroy it. Broadcast type, VFX on start, so you can do that projectile muzzle like we used in the gun demo that I made. VFX trail, so you can have some flames coming out behind your cannonball. VFX on destroy, an explosion, and is visible during maybe gameplay. I'm not sure what that means. So I'm thinking the projectile here, it's not super clear. It might be that the projectile, and maybe Becky can clarify on this, is the projectile like a spawner, and then this collider is like the size of the projectile coming out? So are you doing like a bullet, or is it a custom asset? That's what I'm not entirely sure about, because here it looks like it's being applied to a cannon as the model, and then the collider are these little blue balls here.
So Becky says you can be very precise about what effects you want projectile collisions to make. Not a spawner. You spawn an object with projectile behavior. The item it's on will be the projectile.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So I'm not sure what this last option is here. This is visible during. Can you make the projectile invisible? Is that the goal here? So you could launch it without seeing what it is? You might want that if you just want the VFX to be the thing that you see out of the projectile, or if you're doing it for some other sort of effect. Visible arc or line to see the trajectory. Okay. All right. So we'd actually be able to see. We could aim the trajectory. Nice.
I love those games. Those like the projectile physics games where you're like the two gorillas shooting bananas at each other to destroy the tree. Like that. I don't know why, but I've always enjoyed those.
Which would be cool if it's pickable. Yeah. Well, I've done some things that were pickable that weren't supposed to be pickable. I'm curious to see.
Your nose.
I meant the gun setup that we did the other week, but yeah.
Got him so good.
It was quick on the draw there. All right. Then we've got the Raycast component. Notice that this is a component, not a behavior. So the Raycast component, use offset coordinates to create a ray pointing in any direction from the object's pivot point. Set collision targets. Send a message when the ray hits a collision target. So you can trigger a message when a precise point is detected. So this kind of goes back to what we were doing with that gun demo, where we had a trigger volume, and anytime anything was in that volume, it set off a message that did all the other things to make the gun start firing. With this, you can start, like you can see on this little video clip, that they're doing what looks an attack to trigger the raycast starting. So it's sending out a beam, and when it collides with something, it will send out that message. So uh, in that case, that one of the issues with using the trigger volume is that it would sense things even behind a wall or behind something else. So just anything in that volume will set it off. In the case of a raycast, it can it'll go in order of what it's hitting. The ray can be visible or not, just like the projectile. Awesome. So we look at our raycast options. We got message to start, the start and end offsets, what our collision targets are. So we could set to all, or we could probably set them to tags, which is probably what I would end up using. Stop at first hit. That's what I was talking about. So that trigger volume would sense anything on any side of wall, just anytime anything's coming into that volume. Whereas the raycast will go out and it will hit things in order. So you can have it stop when it gets to the first collision, so you can't shoot through a wall. Is visible during gameplay. That's what Becky was talking about, where you can see the beam. Message on hit, and broadcast type and broadcast range. So super cool. I don't know if this will work with the gun setup that I did, but it's as soon as I get my hands on 0.10, that's what I'm trying out. You can bet your bottom dollar, whatever that means, that next Wednesday we're going to be looking at that gun demo.
I always thought that just meant the dollars that you're carrying in your pants, because lots of times people hold their wallets in their back pocket, so their
the dollar from your bottom.
Exactly. That's what I always thought it meant. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Might be more of a literalistic approach to it than anybody else meant. But
I think it means if you have a stack of dollars, you can bet from the top all the way to the bottom. You can bet all your dollars. That's what I thought it meant. But
that's too rich for my blood, Alex.
Yeah, I'm not a betting man. All right. So we're definitely going to be checking out Raycast soon. Empower players to consume, create, and destroy. Collectible component consumable. Let players decide when to use items, open inventory, consume an item, and send a message to trigger any logic like power-ups. So now, when you have people picking up health potions, instead of it instantly healing them, it can go in their inventory and they can choose to consume it whenever it's convenient for the gameplay. That's a big change for like RPG style stuff. So we've got consumables. You got message on equip, and a multiplayer rework, global toggle merge, for Curio. So Curio is going away. It's becoming part of Collectible, which I think is good, because I think it was very confusing having Collectible and Curio. People didn't understand which situation to use one or the other. So now you can set it to true, meaning that only one player in a multiplayer game can collect an item, or false, every player can collect an item. So if you're doing like collecting voxelite in a social hub, you would want to have that be false. Every player can collect them. Or if you're having like a competitive thing where like who can collect the most voxelite first, you'd want that to be true. Only one player can collect it. Let's see. Some common uses.
Becky said something else. She said, less stuff to manage with rules too.
Yeah, as far as consumables, yeah, you're not trying to juggle all these. It's making this like a built-in feature with consumables.
The less is more feature seems really exciting to me, because I know sometimes that can get a little overwhelming and confusing when you're programming all these things in. I mean, we've seen it a million times where you change one thing, you think you're in another panel, and then you're like, wait, what did I just do?
Right.
So the less you have to control, the easier it is to create. The easier it is to create, the more people that are going to be in here creating.
Absolutely. All right. So some common uses, we can trigger gameplay using avatar buffs, debuffs based on player choice when collected objects are uh, equipped, if equipment, or new, consumed, if set with a consumable toggle. So that's just super cool. Like uh,
Yeah.
we've been able to have it be like Mario eating mushrooms or like Legend of Zelda picking up hearts where it just fills up your health bar, but we haven't been able to have an easy way of having storage for players with consumable items. And this can be so much more than just a health potion. You can have it be a health potion, you can have it be a speed potion, a power potion, a defense potion. Um, Basically, any variable that you set could be consumable in here. So you could have some sort of management game where you are controlling vehicles and you need to fill up the gas in a gas tank for your vehicle. You can collect gas cans, and that can be a consumable item in your inventory. And when your vehicle runs out of gas, you can consume that, and that will activate the message for the variable of your vehicle. So, that just opens up a whole bunch of possibilities, which are super awesome. And when we get to talking about custom controls, it's going to get even cooler. You can read this document right now. Mr. Sanctum asked if they can read this later. This is on the Git book right now. If you go to docs.sandbox.game, this is the Git book. This is the encyclopedia of information for the sandbox that Becky, who's in the chat with us right now, works very hard on. And this is currently live. Well, I kind of navigated away from the main thing.
I just added the link again.
Yeah. So if you go to the game maker section, it's under patch notes, and we're in the 0.10 patch notes. We had clicked on the consumable here, which took us to another part of the Git book. But
so one thing I want to throw out there really quick is, like you were saying, Becky worked really hard on this. And one of the wonderful things about Becky is she's an exceptionally intelligent human being. But one thing that I've noticed time and time again is that she's really good at conveying complex concepts very easily for everyone to understand. I heard her talking to people at NFT NYC one year, and just the way she conveyed complex topics in very eloquent speech it came very naturally and very easy to her. And I really enjoyed listening to her talk. And I've read a bunch of the stuff that she's done on Gitbook and whatnot, and it's all very easy to consume. So if you're wondering what's going on, don't be intimidated by the size of the document. Just jump on in, have some fun, scroll through it, and you're going to learn a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you, Becky. You're awesome. You work really hard at this stuff, and it helps everybody. Everybody benefits from this stuff. All right. So next part: multiplayer, multi and void behaviors. Now you can add or remove blocks in multiplayer experiences with precise spawning areas. This doesn't have more detail yet. Oh, or maybe if I click on multi, it's in progress, so not quite ready yet. So multi and void have been in the game maker for a long time. I think since the earliest versions of the game maker in Unity. And they are mostly for spawning and removing blocks, although void can do a lot more than that with destroying other objects and even players. So now we are going to be able to do this in multiplayer, and you can see from the video, you see blocks spawning. And I believe when it says precise spawning areas, I think that's going to mean that we can do smaller sections than 3 by 3 by 3, which was an unfortunate one block. So it used to be that multi and void had a minimum of a 3 by 3 by 3 meter block size, which is very clunky to work with. So now you're going to be able to set up more precise areas to basically build or destroy terrain with a high level of accuracy and in multiplayer. So you're going to be able to bust down walls, dig down into the earth with other players. So that's super cool. Design for new player mobility. New swimming controls. There's now going to be a submerge to dive straight down in the water or return easily to the surface. I believe that's going to be C key or crouch is going to be swim down and spacebar
makes
up
sense.
to swim up. That's common in a lot of third and first person games. So that's just going to add to the flexibility being able to navigate the space. Teleport component upgrade. Teleport a group of avatars. Cancel out of teleport. Adjustable timing and new VFX. So if you want to have a whole party, if you want to instead of individually sending all the players to a new space, you'd be like, hey, all you guys, you're coming over here. Can we attack enemies underwater with this update? I have not heard anything about that. I don't believe that is the case. But we'll see. You can certainly do interactions underwater. So, actually, given one of the other updates, I think you would be able to do something like this. I will have to see. We'll have to experiment with it. Absolutely, this is something that we can talk about when we're working in this build on a future stream. I'm always one of my favorite things to do on the stream is to
experiment.
Like get your questions and experiment with them live on stream and see if we can do it. Is equipping items going to be any easier in 0.1? Wow, when are we going to 0.1? That's that goes way back. So we're in 0.10. The equipping of items is I think something that's still being worked on for stability. I haven't had a chance to work in 0.10 yet myself, so it may be something that's already fixed in there. It may just be a bug fix, or it may be something that's continuing to be worked on. It's not mentioned in this update. So the way you gotta think about version numbers for software is it's like book, chapter, page, or even like like book, volume, chapter. It's more like it. So we are currently in volume 0, book 10, chapter 6. Actually, it's at 10.6 is this update. Will there be on the fly avatar change?
There you go.
Yes, we're gonna get down to that. That's in there. All right. So making experiences more immersive, NFT image display, GIF support, showcase vivid animated NFTs in your experience. I've been waiting for this one for a while. Messages, new message sound volume changes audio volume. Use this to blend audio in your experiences. Multiplayer asker behavior now allows for other messages than interact. This sound volume one, I don't know when we'll have more videos to share on this, but I saw this demoed in a staff AMA. It's super cool what you can do with this. They had a recording of somebody's voice, like giving instruction, like a conversation, and they had the regular conversation, and then they did one with a filter, so it sounded like I don't know if I can do it. So it sounded like they were talking like through a phone.
Okay.
And they made it fade between those as you walked away from them. So you were having a conversation with the NPC right there, like being like a CIA spy or something, and as you walked away, like a proximity trigger went off and it started fading the volume, so that way it kept a constant volume, but it cross-faded into the filtered version of that voice. So, and they were synchronized. So it just sounded like in games when you like walk away from somebody and like in games. We're making games, obviously, but it just sounded like fancy games where you could have a more immersive audio experience. The other thing you can do with this, you don't have to synchronize it to the same audio track. You can also just fade things out, so you can have uh, like a party where everybody's talking and chattering, and as you walk out of the room, it'll slowly fade out into silence. So it's just really super cool to see that part demoed specifically. I hope that we get that video out to the public. Um, yeah, sound volume is it's a small change with a big impact. Absolutely. Um, trigger logic in new ways. Game rules system. So events on player join and on player exit rules. You can trigger logic with messages when each player enters or exits an experience. So we had some people try to have like a player counter show up when players would join the game, but players joining and leaving kind of did weird things to the player count. And sometimes trying to do these multiplayer experiences for the game jam, we would run into a situation where we had negative players, or there were only like 4 players in the lobby, but it said there were 10 players, and it did weird stuff to the logic. So having event rules for players joining and players exiting is a big deal, especially with the team features and being able to create effective game lobbies and splitting up the players. This was my favorite one. Triggers key input and mouse input rules. Set up custom controls and shortcuts. 0 through 9 keys and 3 mouse buttons. So we can now have rules activate their whole process through the numbers 0 through 9 and your left, middle, and right mouse buttons. So when I said that you can't fight underwater, maybe you can.
Ooh.
Maybe you put mouse middle as a special attack, or you have a trigger volume sense when the player goes into the water, and so the game knows that the player is in water, and now when you press the left mouse key, the game knows to do some sort of damage. You might not get an animation out of that, but it might send out a damage message in a certain radius around the player. My brain just goes with like all the possibilities, because we just got 13 new inputs for the game that we didn't have before. We used to have one, which was interact, and technically we could also use attacks to trigger things. Right, you could attack an object, and breaking that object would make other things happen. So you had attack, which was not really an input, but you could kind of use it that way, and then E to interact being your other input, and then everything else was just moving the player around or having them deal with combat, but there was no game events based on this. So this is a massive update just on its own in what you can do with the game, because now you could build a calculator. Like you can see from this video, you're activating little screens with each button press. Whatever you want to do with that. And remember how I said
I want that. I want a calculator. I want that.
Remember how I said consumables would work with this?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you have items in your inventory, say like a potion, you could have a hotkey to consume your potion. You don't even have to open your inventory, right?
What did you just say?
I mean, I haven't opened this. I haven't tested this out. This is going to be an experiment for us to do on stream to see if we can get it to work. But I'm pretty sure with this setup, we could trigger consumption of an item, I think. Yeah. Even if it just means even if it doesn't consume it from the inventory properly. Yeah. So Becky says, not sure if you can since consume is via inventory, but what we can do is picking up an item. So we wouldn't make it consumable from the inventory. We would just make it so picking it up adds a variable So you would have a variable that says potions, and it would add to the variable, and then you'd press your one hotkey, and it would consume the potion, not using the consume function, but just as part of the rules system. Um, so I wish I got into the game maker, but it looks complicated. Get into it. It is complicated, but it doesn't have to be complicated. You can start just having fun with it and learn organically through building. Don't let this all overwhelm you. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a ton of templates. There's even more templates coming that kind of will get you started with a lot of these things. And check out our speed build streams. I say speed build because we're not going that fast. But all the games in the speed build streams that I do on Wednesdays and Saturdays are us building from a template. So we're starting with the
Also,
template, it's already there, and we're just adding stuff to it. So check those out. And what Crafter, right? Crafter's building,
mhm.
starting with the basics. So check out Crafter streams. I don't have his schedule. I mean,
Crafters
it's on
streams
Twitch.
are wonderful because like Alex just said, they're back to basics, but also I'm dropping a link in the chat right now. It's to a tweet or a post on Twitter/X, and it's all about get ready for the Builders Boot Camp, a 2-day intensive program designed to equip you with the knowledge to build amazing experiences. And then there's more details as you get deeper into the thread, but that is a wonderful thing. And if you're interested in building in the sandbox and you don't have any basic information yet or knowledge yet, you don't have a firm foundation yet, look into the Builders Bootcamp. They are wonderful. Check it out. You'll get the knowledge that you need to move forward, and it'll give you the ability to move forward with confidence.
I feel pretty good that we're pulling 1/8
Oh,
the
that's an
viewers
advanced
of
boot
Linus
camp.
Tech Tips.
My bad. That's an advanced boot camp. Thank you, Becky.
But you never know what you're going to learn from that stuff, so you can check those out too. But this stuff is all documented on here, but really almost everything that I learned how to do in the game maker I learned organically. I have the advantage of having started working in the game maker before it even released in 2020, so I have an advantage of just being here. But you can definitely jump into the game maker and start building right away. You're just placing blocks down, placing some characters. It from the time you click create an experience and it loads in, you can immediately press play and start running around.
Yeah.
It may be a blank, empty, flat land depending on what template you picked, but there's zero startup to go from creating the base model of your experience to actually jumping in and running around. So what you do from jumping in and running around is you start putting stuff in there, start adding some blocks, um, start Lucas clip Alex saying that time note. What?
Saying what?
What?
Saying what? What did you say?
I don't know what I said. Panda, you know how to clip. Anybody can clip. Um, so uh yeah, you can hit play, you can start running around, and then just start putting stuff in there. Put an enemy down, give them some health, do some fighting, start adding some doors and some walls, and play it like it's building in Minecraft. So yeah, you can absolutely get started with very little knowledge. The controls are right there on the screen, and we're gonna point out some more about that too. So yeah, a lot of what we're talking about, a lot of the 0.10 update is advanced stuff. I will say that a lot of these features are advanced features. Um, triggering logic with new key inputs, multiplayer, void and multi raycast and projectile. This is all kind of advanced stuff. Team features is advanced stuff. So don't let this update scare you. There are still easy basic features in here that you can have a fun time with. All right. So yeah, I'm excited for this one because this just it means that you can add so much logic that before you could only do through interacting with objects in real space, which is frustrating for me personally. I don't know how other people feel about it, but People have made some very interesting, unique, and fun games that have been painful for me to play because you have to go and interact with a switch, and you might have like a row of switches, and you have to run over this one, pull that lever, and then run over this one and pull this lever, and uh it's a layer of mm, squishiness to the controls that
Oh,
frustrates me. Where, in most other games you could press another button and it would make that thing happen, and then in the sandbox you have to physically run over to the other control, and E activates all of them, but you have to physically move your character around, and that um uh I'm not the most precise mover. I move fast and inaccurately in games typically. So trying to like line myself up to press E on that thing um can be frustrating. Um Push one and boost. That's it. What's Dankoy talking about? I don't know. Push one and
I,
boost.
I don't
Oh,
know.
are you saying you press the one key to get a speed boost, to do like an extra dash? Because you could do that. You could do a 30-second speed boost that way. Um yeah.
Not
So
animated says we
you
can
can
do dev
what
codes
you, what
now.
you can do a nitrous bar now. So like even though we don't really have like car racing mechanics yet, you could definitely
Yeah.
do you could do a speed boost bar where you have like a tank that fills up over time, and when the variable hits a certain level, then you could press a key and it'll dump it into a 20% speed boost for the next 30 seconds or something.
See, I know what Alex is saying here, but in my imagination, I was picturing a tank, like an armored vehicle with nitrous just speeding along, and now I'm really happy.
You could absolutely do that. Why not? Um, does this work on the M2 Max? I don't know. I imagine it's coming out for. I mean, I know it's coming out for Mac and PC at the same time. I don't know what the compatibility is like on M2 specifically. Um, I think we're trying to make sure that the most recent Macs have access to everything. Um, does the docs mention the thing we spoke about you creating? Panda, can you be a little more specific?
I
I
do have a
don't
question for the
I
audience
don't
really
remember.
quick.
Yeah, what's that?
I seem to have lost connection on Twitter. It says this broadcast is not available in your location. Um, that seems to be
Oh,
odd to me. I'm just
that is
wondering if
odd.
anybody else is receiving that message because I've actually received it from a couple people saying that they lost connection on Twitter. Just wondering if the audience, if anybody watching right now that's on Twitch could
Oh,
just
yeah, it
check
says
Twitter
that for
really
me
quickly.
too. Let me try
Interesting.
let me
Hmm.
try turning it off and turning it back on again on restream, and
Mm,
maybe it
mhm.
will
Lucas
maybe
is
it'll work.
lost. Welcome to Lucas.
Ooh. Okay. It says it's streaming on X, and it says there's a bunch of people watching, but we're gonna turn it off and turn it back on again, and hopefully that fixes it.
Okie dokie. Just want to throw that out there in case there's anything you could do to fix it, and in case it was just me. Because you know
Mm.
sometimes it's just me.
Yeah, it still says the broadcast is not
It's probably an
available.
X issue then.
Yeah, it's weird though. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry, X users, you're gonna have to watch on Twitch for now. It's
Uh,
the viewer count is going up though on X, which is interesting. So maybe it's a United States issue. I don't know.
Second.
I don't. I
Seeing
don't
something
know.
real quick here.
When YouTube, we're working on it. I think. I don't know if
Working on it.
Panda's still here. I think we're working on the process.
I think Panda's here.
Um, the
But
game
yeah,
that has
Alex,
ads
the
that
game.
doesn't exist. Yeah, we'll get there, Panda. We're not there yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. Um, I want to reveal that because then somebody will inevitably have more time than me and make it before I do.
Here's the thing. I know exactly what she's talking about without even being a part of that conversation. So let's say less right now, unless you want somebody else to make it before you.
You know what? I'm kind of okay with somebody else making it before me.
Okay, well, let's say more
That's-
right now.
Well, not right now. When we get to that part of the, I'm going in order here.
Okay, before you go any further, though, I do have one more thing.
Sure.
We have officially hit 100 responses in the form. I have closed it out. Here's what we're going to do. If you filled out the form, assume that you won at least one thing. We're not going to read off all the names for the 100 people that won.
Yeah.
But there are the other giveaways that we have, the uncommons, the rares, and the Rabbids avatar. So what we'll do is, do you want to, is it 20? Are we doing one uncommon per person?
It's everybody who filled it out gets a common. We
Common.
are giving out randomly 20 uncommons.
Does that go to 20 people is what I'm asking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 people are going to get an uncommon, and 2 people are going to get a rare, and 1 person's going to get a rabbit.
So then we will read off 23 names here in a little while once I work my way through this here list.
All right. So I don't know which rabbit it is. It is one of the rabbit avatars, but I have not been told which token ID it is. So I don't know. We will find out. Or you'll find out, whoever gets it, when you get it. All right. Panda really wants me to make that game. I know, but I'm always so busy doing things. I can guarantee you I'm gonna get like really far doing it in one day, and I'm gonna be like, look at this cool thing, and then I'm not gonna touch it for like 6 months.
Or there's gonna be like one little, you're gonna like basically finish 98% of the game, and then you're gonna spend like 6 months perfecting like 0.5% of the game because there's a block that's a couple degrees off or something like that.
There's gonna be one thing that doesn't work the way that I want it to, and I just lose all motivation to finish it. I mean, I've got so many back burner projects. Like I've been getting very organized, keeping everything on a Trello list and keeping track of what I'm doing. But my back burner list goes back like to 2021 right now. So there's a lot of things. I never abandon anything. If you've ever like supported me in any projects, like if I stop working on a thing, I'm gonna say it. But there are a lot of things that people have been waiting for a while, just because I'm always busy. So, yeah, and I always have new ideas, and the new ideas are always very shiny and distracting.
So shiny.
Question: can we trigger a consumed asset by assigning a key in our inventory? So, Biverson, that's what we're not sure about. Becky thinks maybe not, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But what I did want to point out is that you don't necessarily have to make the item a consumable collectible. You can have a message from picking up the item add just a number to a variable. So instead of looking at your inventory and saying, oh, you have 5 potions, you can have a variable on screen saying that you have 5 potions, and then have a key consume from that variable. That is something that you could do. Pretty much definitely. That like they would have to actively block things from making me do that. Just based on what I'm reading here, I think I could definitely do it. To consume, you have to press C when inside the inventory. You can simulate consuming with other logic, like Alex is saying. Yeah. So, you know, it depends on what you want to do with it. Because when I first saw consumable and then I saw key inputs, my first thought was like Diablo. Or I've never actually played Diablo. I know I'm a bad gamer. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I have it. I just have not gotten around to playing it because I know that I'd probably like lose a few weeks of my life as soon as I start.
Like missing daughters' birthdays and stuff, and you know,
I'd
whatever.
never do that, but I would definitely miss sessions of sleeping and eating. But yeah, like in MMOs, like World of Warcraft, the game that I was thinking of that's like Diablo is I think it was called Fate.
Your fate is to play Diablo. Moving on.
There was a game that I remember where you could like have, it was a dungeon crawler, and you could have pets and you could like do fishing, and there was like slots where you could equip gems. That this is the game that I've always thought about when thinking about like gems and catalysts, having slots to put special gems in your equipment to upgrade them. I'm pretty sure it was called Fate. Um, but I used to play that a good bit when I was in high school, I think. Um, it's similar to Diablo in some ways. It is called Fate. Yeah, you get a pet as well. Okay, yeah. So somebody asked a question in the chat about pets earlier, and
Did I miss that?
there's been the chat's been very exciting.
Pop, pop.
What was the question about pets? I think it was just like, can you equip a key to like pet an animal or something like that? Which you could technically do with E before. You could always walk up to a character, a creature, and pet them. Um, I missed it. Um, like the whole when we did Wizzy the Green, talking to Wizzy the Green to get the quest for the garden. I made him an animated asset, so he would do different like conversation motions, or he would cast a spell to summon the raccoon, the golden raccoon. So you could definitely do that to like pet an animal, but you could also, with this, you can trigger it basically anything with 0 through 9 and left, middle, right mouse buttons. I'm so pumped because just the stuff that people have been doing with only having the E key to interact, and now they've got 13 new keys to add to that, is just, it's so cool. It's that you're gonna be able to do so much with this. It's gonna be real cool to see what people do. Also, key and mouse input send a message when you press it down and when you release. That is important to note. So, um, this is a normal thing in game programming systems. Typically, there's a press down, and a release, and sometimes there's one that's a hold, where it's just like you could have something happen on the press, something happen during the hold, and something happening on the release. Not all of them have the hold function, but yeah,
Found the pet
it's.
question.
Hmm?
I said I found the pet question.
Oh, what was the pet question?
It was from Dan Coy. He said, "Can we have a pet or ways to have assets around the player?" And then only hardcore replied back with Predator, but there was maybe a
So
different. It's correct. It's
yeah.
accurate, but maybe not quite what they're asking about.
So I'm not sure how this is going to change in 0.10, but previously we did use the predator behavior, and you could kind of use the other ones. They all behaved slightly differently, so you could, and we experimented with them on stream. This was like 2 years ago now. We tried out all the different NPC, between like farmer, predator, prey, um even like soldier and healer, and we tried them out with different combinations of logic. And you don't want them to actually attack the player, so you give them like 0 damage, and they'll just kind of surround around the player. um, I imagine by having um, the rules system and having these triggers, you could probably do more sorts of interactions with them. Um, it would be really cool to have like party commands. If you have like a healer like following you around, could you tell them to be like, okay, now you're going to be in attack mode, now you're going to be in defense mode? Um, there's a lot of cool possibilities with this that we're going to have to see what they do. Um, da, da, da. It's all possible with presets. See it, presets do unlock a lot of possibilities. Design smarter logic, game rule system, math rules rework. Math. Perform basic math operations with time and number variables using one versatile rule. Timers must be paused to modify time. So yeah, you can't timers must be paused to modify time. So if you needed to add like 5 seconds to a timer, would you need to pause it, add the 5, and then start the timer again? I guess you could do that really fast. It'd only take a couple frames to do. But with the math rework, we now have division. That was something that we came across on the live stream, and I think it was that very night I messaged somebody. I was like, "Why don't we have divide?" Because we tried it and we were like, "Okay, we can add, we can subtract, we can multiply, but we can't divide and we can't multiply by a decimal. So how do we divide numbers?" And so they reworked the math, and now we can have a full feature of math functions here, and you can do cool stuff with that. Becky says, I multiplied a time by a number to get a point bonus, for example, using this one simple math rule. It says they removed multiply. What? What says they removed multiply?
One of these days, we should have Becky on the show. I would love for us in the audience to be able to pick her brain if that's something she'd be comfortable with.
Yeah. Becky's always welcome to join the show if she has stuff she wants to share or things to pick her mind about. So the multiply number rule was removed because now there's a math rule. So it used to be we had separate rules for add, subtract, and multiply. Now it's just one math rule that is add, subtract, multiply, and divide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And now you can add, subtract a number continuously. I'm guessing that's at a rate, like a rate of change. Here we go. Create your very own stat for your player. Add, subtract number continuously rule is a way for creators to set up additional stats for their players continuously or increasing scores. The rule can count up or down within the boundaries set by the creator. So you've got a duration, value change, minimum value, maximum value. Do you get the rate of change also?
says, when quantum mechanics, and I'm going to say it's irrelevant because it's already here, because it's already there. Think about that one.
Yeah, I mean, so people have made 8 and 16-bit computers in Minecraft. Just use the features here to build a quantum machine in the sandbox.
Do it.
I believe in
that
you.
That might be a 3x3 though.
you probably need some space for that, yeah. So I was kind of expecting to see a rate of change. Defines the time variable that is used to measure the time in this tree. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to dive into this too deep right now. We can experiment with that later. Rule: set player name. Set the player's username as a text variable. So I think what this means, maybe Becky can clarify. I think this means that if we're setting up a party, we could have the players' names as variables on your HUD. So if you wanted to show
so it'd be like team
Alex's
A
HP
consists of. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think, but I'm not sure. I do see this what's showing up here is a
Sebastian has joined your game.
Yeah. So before, if you put the in brackets or in carrots player all caps, I don't know, that would probably just work for the current viewer, and it wouldn't be for that other player. So if you wanted to say this other player's doing something, it would show your name instead of the other player's name. Cookie Boy King says user was banned from the server. Yeah.
All users?
No, just as the on-screen message, a user was banned from the server. Variable type float. Now you can use decimal variables in math calculations. So we got both division and decimal variables. So now we could do either. Becky says set player name is a rule I haven't tested since it just sets a text value. Yeah, it's I think it could have some cool use cases, but I would have to experiment with it to see what I could do with it. Whatever you can do with a text variable, go nuts. So yeah, the main thing that I saw people doing with a text variable, or that I envisioned them doing, I think I saw somebody doing this, is you can say the name of a location where you are on the screen. So if you have say you wanted to make a game like Clue or
Mhm.
Cluedo for us, for our friends across the pond, um, you could have like the the kitchen and the parlor and the drawing room and like all the names of these rooms. And when you walk into the rooms, it could show on the top of your screen the name of the room that you're in. So that way, if you're playing a game like Clue or maybe like Among Us or something like that, players know what to call that room when they're talking to each other. Um, that's actually the I and go back to Call of Duty. That's a thing that's actually on the screen that nobody ever uses because it's like such a small bit of text. But all the locations on Call of Duty maps have names. So if you want to say, there's a player in the junkyard, you could. It says it, but nobody like thinks to like look at that when they're running for their lives. So, um, Twitter says this broadcast is not available in your location. Yeah, we don't know. I tried stopping it and restarting it. It was live on Twitter, and I don't know. It says that there's people watching it on Twitter. I don't know why Twitter's region locking it. Apparently it's region locking it because when I turned it off and turned it back on again, it was at 0 viewers. So apparently some people on Twitter are watching. Um anybody on Twitter watching
We've
right
had
now? Can you talk in the chat?
we've had people from Twitter or saying they're watching on Twitter, but they're not in the United States.
Okay.
So I had people from overseas say that they're seeing it just fine, or they're getting blocked out as well. Sorry,
I'm actually
mixed
okay,
up what I
so
was trying to say
interesting.
there.
I can't see the Twitter chat anymore on OBS. Um, it says on OBS, it shows that it's only going to one source. It doesn't show that it's going. Oh, no, because it would be going to Restream. So,
Hmm.
except Restream is the thing that shows this number. So I don't. Oh, it heard me talking and it just changed it to 2. There's a little thing right here that shows what we're broadcast to, and it said 1 of 1 until I said it said 1 of 1, and then it went 2 2, like it
It was like,
updated them one
oh,
at a time. It's like,
boss
whoops.
is paying attention. I need to get with it.
Literally while I was looking at it. And now I can see Lukus in the chat also, which I haven't seen any Twitter stuff since I turned it back on. So I don't know. Twitter's being weird. Blame Musk.
We're just
It's
gonna focus on Twitch for now.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna focus on this beautiful document here. Um. So yeah, potentially some really cool stuff, but I'd have to experiment with it to see what I could do with it. But I'm sure somebody will find something cool to do with this. Variable type float rule send message. Send more than one message if needed by adding this simple rule to a rule set. So that's kind of cool. That I think I had jerry rigged this before. I
Okay.
had I made a rule that said like if 0 equals 0, send this message. And added that to the rule set. So like if I needed um if I needed a series of rules to like send a specific message out and it didn't already have a way of doing that, um then I triggered it by having it be something that would always be true. Um and now it's just actually a a thing that you can add to the rule set. So that's nice that you don't have to hack it in.
That's
Ru-
wonderful.
rule if and else. I didn't see that before. I just saw this now. I didn't notice this one. This is a big one. Send a message based on the state of a true false value when triggered. This was one that I felt was sorely missing in 0.9. this might even be bigger for me than the inputs. I mean, the inputs is still probably biggest, but if and else messages are like fundamental game features of being able to like check if this variable is true, and if it's true you can do this, if it's not true then do this other thing. And we had true and false variables, but I couldn't figure out really how to use them because there wasn't a way to sense the value of true and false in the rule set. And I remember asking the guy who was working on it, he's like, "Yeah, we didn't finish that one yet." So it was kind of like halfway implemented. You could say a variable was true or false, but you couldn't actually do anything with it after it was true or false. So it was a little goofy. So now we can sense if or else on the true and false statements. Oh, oh, yes. Yes, it's almost scripting. The rules is basically scripting at this point. It's visual scripting. It's not a full feature set of visual scripting that encompasses everything in the game, but being able to have the in-game events send stuff to the rules and spit stuff out back into the game from the rules is a huge deal. Um, if and else variables, that is big. Yeah. Um,
Psst.
what? What?
I'm working on the form now, so I might be a little distant for a few minutes just because I'm trying to, count and do all this.
All right. Um, yeah. So we could already sense if and else on numbers. I think I don't know if it was called if and else. Um, but when you could sense the range of a number, you could have it do things, and you could because you could sense multiple ranges. You didn't necessarily have to have an else. You could just sense, is it below this number? Do this message. Is it above this number? Do this message. And that kind of is the same thing as an if else. But yeah, having it on true and false values that's that's how you set basically any state in your game. Now anything that you do in your game, you can have it send a message to a variable to set it true or false. And this is the reason I'm so excited for this, is because a lot of my earliest game building experience was in using RPG Maker, and RPG Maker is like nothing but if else functions on true false. On they might call them switches, so you like an on switch, off switch, and that's just so much of the logic in 2D RPGs is just, did this thing happen yet? And oh, this thing happened, so now do this. And that you can do that for questing, you can do that for opening and closing of doors, interacting with characters, just basically everything can be assigned to a true false variable. And when you do that, you can test any state in your game. So instead of having the logic of, I don't know if this would be practical. I would have to see it in practice, but instead of talking to a character and having it toggle something on or off for that character, instead you can go, was this character talked to as a variable? And once you talk to that character, now that variable is true, and you can have a whole new set of logic defined based on that statement. So there's a lot that you can change with sensing true false values like that. And you could kind of do it before by using numbers, using 0 and 1 to act as true and false, but it's easier to follow with true and false. The escape room artist says, I'm kind of embarrassed, but is it okay to say that I'm drooling? Yeah, absolutely fine. I've been salivating this whole
100%.
time. Dr. Metaverse says this release might be the biggest release yet to happen. The possibilities are endless. It's funny because Becky said like this release isn't as big as the other release, and I think 0.9's release had more total content. But like I said, this
Okay.
release is very advanced
User
stuff.
friendly?
No, I would say 0.9 added the rules system, and that was fundamentally a huge shift in what you can do with the game maker. The
Okay.
adding of the rule system, I think, was a bigger change, but what we're seeing in 0.10 is more advanced features added to the rule system. and so I would say they kind of balance out. 0.10, 0.8 to 0.9 is about as big of a jump for me as 0.9 to 0.10, but it's still it's nice to see like these aren't just like fluffy like, oh, this looks pretty kind of features. This is like really core game mechanic changing stuff. um and yeah, Becky said this release is big on quality of life. This is going to
Nice.
streamline a lot of features, a lot of things that you could do before by kind of duct taping it together and making your Rube Goldberg machine. Now you can do by pressing the 7 key and have all that logic happen instead of running your character to another place and interacting with something. So yeah, uh, this is really streamlining and empowering a lot of cool features. Get a 101 key keyboard to make full use of key inputs. Be sure to have an any key too. I don't know about it. What's an any key? Our tools were hammers and saws. Now we get screwdrivers and wrenches. Yeah, sort of. Oh, where's the any key? Got it. Okay. Press any key to continue. I wasn't getting the context right of the question. I've seen that joke before, but make sure to have it any key.
Any key.
It wasn't phrased in the way the joke is phrased, so I like.
Oh, so it's their fault. Got it.
It's their fault. They didn't write it the way that I would catch the reference.
How dare they?
Yeah, I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if the numbers means just if the numpad will work the same as the numbers across the top row. I think they send the same signal to your computer. So, oh, Becky says numpad no. Okay, so it's just the ones across the top. I wasn't sure if they send the same signal or not. Touche says, love this update. Finally, projectiles. Yes, projectiles is something that people have been building on their own
Nobody
in the craziest
wants
ways for so long.
Nobody wants it. Let's just delete that and move on.
But now it's gonna have like real support and real functionality. Maybe I didn't have my numlock button on though. I never not have my numlock button on unless it's an accident, and then I'm like typing things on the numpad and the cursor's going all over the place. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And it's just because I accidentally hit numlock. I think life for me would be better without the numlock key. Like you just take that out.
I just assume that my house is haunted when that happens. You're mashing keys and things are moving that aren't supposed to, and just, yep, obviously haunted. So I just burn the house down and move on.
Dankoy says rules sending messages with arguments is huge. Can we store value into numpads and access later? Rules sending messages with arguments. Did it not have that before? I'm trying to remember. I guess it didn't, did it? You could send a message, but it wouldn't use the argument, would it? And like Becky said, create a variable. The argument overwrites the variable value. Yeah, you could definitely store the values in variables. You can make a whole bunch of variables. So anytime you need to store a number for later, that's what those variables are there for. Yeah, I'm not sure about the arguments on rules. Oh, chat's going too fast. Becky said messages with arguments worked going into rules in 0.9. So now you can send them out with 0.10 Okay, that's kind of what I was. Yeah, I don't think I ever needed to send an argument out of a rule before, so I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but that makes sense. So that is a good change, being able to have the arguments go into and out of the rules. Pot Plucker says, I don't know if fire hurts ghosts.
You're just not using it right.
Okay, if my wife watching Supernatural taught me anything, it's that
the fire must have salt in it. Got it.
it's that the fire is for the bodies, and if you destroy the body with fire, then the ghost goes away. I think that's the rule.
Yep, that's science right there.
Absolutely. Touche says, and the coding logic is going to be very interesting to play with. If then messages 0 through 9 available. Don't forget middle, left, and right mouse buttons. That's important too. And teams, PvP battle arenas, here we come. Yeah, so my whole setup for my gun using the automatic triggering for the firing, I think I can just do it with mouse button now. Like I don't have to set up all that logic for sensing if there's a player in there. Like this is gonna hopefully just simplify all of that. Oh, I'm so excited. And I'm checking my email and I haven't gotten the like it's live yet, but we'll see.
Go.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, chat is going so fast, it's hard to keep up. Hierarchy with folders. Yeah, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, Dan Coy. Okay. So that was rules if else. Try creative efficiencies. Collectible component reworked, curio behavior merged, now global toggle added, improved delay times, and better user experience. So we already mentioned how curio and is bundled into collectible now, and that slight change, which should hopefully make things a lot easier and easier to understand. Improved delay times is important also, because that was something that I know was frustrating as a player, to be running around a social hub and running through a collectible and then not actually picking up because I was going too fast. Touche said, yeah, I'm very glad we waited to make a PvP game until this. Only worried about plant and a few other behaviors becoming components. We used to toggle a lot of plant behaviors to do certain mechanics, but we'll see. Might be a better way to do things now. Yeah, I think I think you'll still be able to do what you need to do, unless you had a really weird edge case for the way you were doing plants. But I think it's gonna work out. Behaviors to components. This is what Touche was talking about. So plants, buttons, lights, and VFX, that one's super important, have moved from being behaviors to components. So now, if you want to have VFX on an object that has another behavior, you don't have to attach the VFX as a separate logic donut or asset attached to that object and have that do the VFX. The VFX is just a component of the rest of that object's behavior. That to me is so important, because I hate adding a bunch of extra objects that I don't need. I like bundling as much logic as possible into the single object. Touche, always doing weird things with plants. That's right.
He's always doing weird things with plants.
Same thing with lights. Buttons being a component is interesting. I personally have not really used button at all. And I'm not really sure how other people have been using button. I usually use a message broadcaster with the interact behavior to do button functions. And so I'm not sure how people have been using button. Like, I don't know what the use case of button is apart from a message broadcaster. And I think somebody might have explained it to me before. But we will see how people use it. Some common uses: you could use it to toggle a component, use it, send a message to another object's toggle component to activate or deactivate its behavior. Apply to assets such as info panels and triggers the NFT details display component, open doors from a distance, etc. Trigger lights on or off, reset logic on multiplayer experiences. Not Animated says, I only use buttons to test stuff. Uh, Quad Duckhead says, "Will the variables be expanded? I'm reaching the limit on one project." Oh wow. Um, I have not added that many variables to an experience before. That's impressive. I'm not sure.
How many?
Um,
What's the limit? So they said, will
yeah,
the variables expand? I've reached the limit. What did you reach to get to the limit?
yeah. I'm curious on that. I don't actually know what the limit is. Hey, what's
And
up?
my questions indicate that I am back,
What?
as well
I
as Maggie.
chew snack. I've got a munchkin in tow today, who's asking for snackage. Um,
I mean, if you're giving out snacks, I would also like to put my name in the hat.
I'll be right there. uh,
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, I guess. This is a great
uh,
day.
Dr. Metaverso says, "I'm so excited about this that I have the Sandbox's page refreshing every few minutes to see if it's released." Yeah, let me know if you see it before I do, because I'm waiting with bated breath here. Uh, theoretically, it could still come out like tomorrow, so don't please don't hold your breath for your own safety. But I know people are working hard to get it live right now. You can slow people down with a button. There is a timer thing on it. The message broadcaster you can mash. That is a good use case, Fred and Ferd. I hadn't thought about that. Um, there's other ways you could arrive at that using like an animated decoration or a sound effect or other things. But yeah, you could definitely if you can set a delay on the button, then yeah, you can make it so that way people can't advance it too fast. I wonder, there's some games that I've played in the sandbox where if you're trying to just if you've already like read all the dialogue and you're just trying to like speed through to get to the next thing, um, sometimes if you mash through things too quickly, it can cause it to break. I wonder if having the button to slow that sort of stuff down would help. Um, let's see. All right, let's go back to the list here. Um, and yeah, plant. So the use of plant was mostly to have objects like disappear without like killing them technically. To have like a kill message on something that wouldn't actually like make it die. Um, and I guess I think that would work the same if you switched it from being a behavior to a component. Um,
So I actually do have a question.
mhm.
Why is it called plant behavior? Is it because original video games you would like, slice down the reeds and they would disappear and you would find a gem? Like, why is it called plant? I've always wondered
Well,
that.
like Lieutenant General said, the prey eats plants. So technically, the plants like one of the earliest systems in the sandbox was having like a predator, prey, and plant, where the predators would chase the prey and the prey would eat the plant. So you could have like a little living ecosystem. And I didn't see a lot of people set it up that way, but it was definitely a thing that you could do. And people used it to set up unconventional mechanics. Like they would use it in a novel way. So they weren't actually making like a circle of life ecosystem, but they were using those behaviors to make certain things happen in the game in a predictable way. Um, the point of a plant was that it would be like a consumable food for the prey behavior. Um, you also had the farmer behavior, which didn't have to pick just plants. You could have them pick anything that you wanted. But the farmer would go around and pick things as well. Um, so yeah, I think moving it from behavior to component, I feel would like make it work the same way. Um, it's just that now you can have other behaviors on top of that as well. So you could have an animated decoration. So like you could have a plant behavior, but you couldn't choose multiple animations for that plant. Um, or have a specific, if you had an asset that had multiple animations, you couldn't select a certain one for that plant. Yeah, it would still work. You just can't toggle them on or off, but that's okay. We can still rework things. Oh, I understand. You would toggle off the plant behavior, so you couldn't use the kill message on it until a certain point. I see. I wonder.
I'm
I would
glad
I
you
would
do.
like. I don't think it's in this update. I would like to see in a future update to have the toggle component also turn off component logic, or even be able to select which behaviors and components are toggled. It would be nice to see the toggle component get a little more advanced to say, okay, these components on this asset get toggled when um, when you toggle it. That'd be pretty
Make
cool.
it toggle when you toggle it.
Yeah, toggle to toggle.
Toggle.
Uh, Becky says there's a thing like a component toggle that affects one component in this update. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we haven't gotten to that yet. I read through this earlier, and so there may be things in here that I either missed or didn't see yet, or just maybe things that aren't on here yet. There's a thing like a component toggle that affects one component in this update. Yeah, I've updated since I started looking at this. Do I need to refresh? Actually, I just navigated away and navigated back, so it should be the latest. It's an actor property. Okay. All right. We'll get there, I think. All right. Engage and inform players via HUD. Heads up display. New slot types, format to show variables in custom ways. So now you can see that there's different types of slots. We've got percentage, value plus percentage. We can hide the value or show the value only, or have a progress bar around the icon. That's pretty cool. Oh, value and max. Yeah. So our variables just got upgraded by showing like the types of variables, which is pretty cool. I told you that might happen. So we've also got HUD slot icons. Use the icons to represent custom game information. You see a bomb, potion, a luck icon, XP, heart. So we've got different things that can show up there, which is pretty cool. So now you have more visual representation for players besides just the variable name. And HUD slot sizes. So you've got small, medium, and large. So you could have varying sizes on the screen, so that way some variables show as being like more important than other ones for the player.
Not all variables are created equal.
Slots show dynamically and new top slot. So you can see that as the variables show up on the screen, they are animated, kind of bouncing in and moving the other ones around as needed. So we were able to toggle their visibility on and off before, but I think before they kind of stayed in a static position. I'm not sure on that one. I didn't really experiment with hiding and showing variables that much. But now there's also a top slot, so you can put something at the top of the HUD as your super important variable on top of everything else that people absolutely need to see. Becky says that she has got a family to feed, and so she's leaving us.
Bye, Becky.
Thank
you
you
for stopping
so
by.
much.
It really was wonderful.
It's good having you fill in some of those details, and thank you so much working on this document for us to go through.
Yeah. Very much so.
She says, I hope everyone has a blast testing out this update. Once it's ready to download, this update makes it easier to build and opens up a lot of possibilities with existing logic. Have fun. She says,
exactly
love the
what we want to hear.
icons. Love the icons. Now we just need to save states so we can make a proper survival game.
Oh.
Yep, no save in this one. We will have to stay tuned for that. Update banner and pop-up. So the pop-up system that we have has had some improvements. I know that the banner and pop-up are going to be more consistent throughout um, the game experience. There were some like inconsistencies in the way the visuals were presented in different situations. So it should just be a better user experience here. And control object information displayed. Actor property behavior enhanced. Oh, maybe this is what she was talking about. New user interface visibility toggle to turn on off the affected actor's indicator UI. This is an important one because Becky, go feed your family. Your kids, they need sustenance. This one was important because you had the indicator component, which would say, press E to interact with this thing. Press the button, flip the switch, blow up the bomb, whatever you set it to do. Yes, it is friggin' exciting. um, so the problem with it though is that if the behavior was turned off, say like your game logic, you needed to complete a quest before you could open a door. The door indicator would still say press E to open the door, even if the behavior was turned off. So there was no way really to hide it without adding a bunch of extra objects to like spawn in and disappear. And you had to do weird workarounds to make those indicators not appear. And now they can be toggled off, which is super cool. So yes, it's good. Learn and create faster. So I think we're done with most of the behavior and component aspects here. Learn and create faster, updated builder controls, and new resource selection section for documentation, tutorials, change logs, and known issues. So new GameMaker key bindings, a new way to engage with the GameMaker, full support on Mac and Windows, no conflicts, every tool has a shortcut, shortcuts listed in the settings menu. So it should be a lot more clear what you can do with the interface. New controls helper, press F1. Easy to visualize helper with all build mode controls available. Press spacebar for alternate options. So now we're going to have some more on-screen visible helpers for controls, so we don't forget what cool features we have. Is the Meta Mansion opening up on the 19th of April? I don't know. Usually there's like events listed on the main page. Improved grid system. It's snappier than ever to place assets on the grid from floor to center or directly on intersection points. That's good. I don't know if the duplicate is now grid locked or not. I know that was an issue we were having before, but hopefully this fix addresses that in a way where we don't have to manually type in values to line up objects correctly. Learn and create faster on the home screen. Template categories, discover templates like never before. New featured section, explore or use the search bar. Resources section, access helpful documentation and YouTube playlists directly by topic. Check version changelog and known issues in GameMaker. This is all in the main menu for the GameMaker. So you're going to be able to access a lot of this documentation that you see here on the Gitbook. I'm not sure if it links directly to the Gitbook, like if it's like embedded in the GameMaker, or if this is, I believe it is. Like if you look at if it goes back to the screen right here, it just looks like the Gitbook. So I think the Gitbook's actually like linked into the interface. So all the information you need is going to be a lot closer. Other improvements and supports: spawning checkpoints, support for spawn orientation. So we'll be able to say which direction the player is facing when they spawn. That's going to be helpful for like cutscenes. So that way, when you spawn a character, the way spawning worked before is whichever direction the camera was facing, it preserved that. But wait, there's more.
I was not expecting that.
So before, when you'd respawn a character, the camera would just stay in the orientation that it was in before. So now it should face it in the direction that you tell it to face in. And so if you are trying to say, "Hey player, look at this," you can do that. Video rework.
That's gonna be huge, actually.
Yeah, it's really important for narrative games.
I was gonna say it might sound like something small, but in reality, I think that's gonna be really big for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm. Video rework, custom mesh merged inside video streaming. So we can set up. I'm trying to remember what it was before. I thought this was already in 0.9.
I don't know what those words mean when you put them together in that order. So
well, so we had
interesting.
We had frame assets. Right. So you could make a frame in VoxEdit and put NFTs in that frame or images in that frame, and it was videos in those frames before also. But now there's video mesh where you can say, "Hey, make a video screen this size," and so you can go beyond the limitations of a VoxEdit image size. But I thought that was already in 0.9, but maybe I'm just not understanding the way that works. My daughter sprayed too much Lysol. Good grief.
Your daughter sprayed Lysol?
Well, I think it's technically Febreze. I've told her not to, but
does she just enjoy the smell of it?
I think so. But now it's wafting into the room and I'm dying over here.
We have a question from the audience. While you cough, I will
answer
ask. That? I unfortunately cannot. I believe that the answer is no. Okay. But the question is, will there be a new VoxEdit for 0.10?
I know there's some updates coming for VoxEdit, but I don't think it's a synchronized release.
Oh, Dr. Metaverso says he asked Becky, and she said no. They have their own release schedule. This release will affect Game Maker and the client. So yes, I could have answered if I'd read more.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Are you ready to announce the giveaway winners?
I am.
Could you do that while I open a window?
Can. Go for it.
I will be
all
right back.
So the way that this is going to work is, as Alex stated earlier, we have 20 uncommons, 2 rares, and 1 rabbit avatar, and 100 commons. So what we did is we allowed the form to be filled out by 100 people. Those 100 people are everyone's guaranteed a common. And so no matter what I announce now, you're getting a common. But if I announce your name, you're getting a common and something else. So the winners are, for the 20 uncommons. One moment while I pull that up. I had it. I don't know where it went. Here we go. For the 20 uncommons, we have Touche, OX Valor, Vivox, Surd One Yeah, Mr. Furious X, RV STV, Wayward Escapades, Lee Oaklishaw, Not Animated, Candidly Kristen, Sir Alokian, Elispithy, ELSPITHY, Rocktholomew, Josgies, JOSGIES. I probably just destroyed that last one, so my bad. On to the next. Woke Zombie, Sidekick at, Sparky Snickle, Demir226, Gun, Bang, Zine, and Monier Joy 1987. If your name was one of the names I just announced, you have won an uncommon catalyst on top of your common catalyst. Now we're going to go to the 2 rares. For the rare catalysts, we have Pot Plucker and Lori G. Congratulations, you two. And now for the grand finale. a
Oh
rabbit's
snap!
avatar. We don't know which one it is. I'm sure it's amazing because they're all amazing. But the rabbit's avatar goes to the one, the only Electro Macumba. Congratulations, Electro. Enjoy your new avatar. Run around with it, enjoy it, have fun with it, play with it, whatever you want to do with it. It's all yours.
All
Congrats,
right.
everyone.
Thank
So
you,
that was,
Lucas.
they're all already added to the form as well. So we
Nice.
have, I will actually make another tab on this form for the 100 names for the common catalyst. Yeah, common catalyst.
Cool. All right. So back to our improvements and supports. We
Mm.
did the video mesh rework. So now you can just like define dimensions for the video. Layer 2 asset support. GameMaker and Game Client are fully compatible with Layer 2 assets. Layer 1 and 2 assets are seamlessly integrated in the GameMaker library, compatible with new Catalyst system. So we could pull up assets before. I think this is addressing the values of like power and defense and stuff. There was a little bit of an issue where um starting with 0.9 or starting with the layer 2 update, assets like power, defense, and speed levels don't actually weren't actually supposed to make a difference in the game maker. Those were kind of exclusively for equipment, so they provide player boosts. But because the game maker wasn't really updated to reflect that, the layer 1 assets still had their stat boosts that they had before, and the layer 2 assets, even though they were supposed to be basically unlocked to the maximum levels, meaning you could set them to whatever value you needed for your game, they were staying at the minimum value available. So I think this means in 0.10 that's fixed. All assets should behave like they have max speed, max defense, max power, and you can set the sliders to define like what you need for your game setup. I think that's what that means. NPC system added AI features to guide NPC behaviors better with a new unified pawn system to better support NPCs.
Okay.
That feels really big. And that feels like more than a other improvement. That feels like a big deal, and I'm not sure on the details with that. I did see something about that in a presentation, and it looked like they did a rework of things so that way not only is it a more um robust system, but it also improves the stability of it. So there was an issue with having uh uh I think it wins either when 0.8, I think it was when 0.8 started. There was an issue. Randuxy says version 10 is live. Ah!
Also, if
Did I
you
get an
look
email?
what Cyber Dragon says, that's not in 0.10 though. And I think he put that out there when you started talking about the NPC system.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. Um, Broadcasting types, crowd event behavior and timed event behavior added compatibility. New team broadcast type added to behaviors and components for sending messages to teams defined by avatar spawner behaviors. So this is going back to what we were talking about. We can now assign teams. Yep, it's 0.10.6 is the current version now. You can say it's 0.6 because we've actually been working on this behind the scenes for a long time and it's gone through many iterations. And by we, I
So
mean the game maker team, not me. I've been doing other stuff.
no, it's all Alex. But question for you: have it ever released like a 0.8.1, or is it always like a 0 point whatever point something when it finally gets released?
um
You know what? That's probably an unfair question to ask, but I'm just curious if they've ever released a one.
I don't remember. I mean, I've seen those versions internally, you know, 0.10.0,
Yeah, that's why I say it's an unfair question because
0.10.1.
you've seen it, but
Yeah, as far
yeah,
as what happens on the
I'm
other
just
side,
curious.
I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
Um, bu- 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 my daughter's knocking for some reason.
Hi, Maggie.
I don't know what she's doing.
She's
She's just
probably
making a
asking for
lot.
more Lysol.
She's just making a lot of noise. It's not even. Well, it's because she went to the bathroom, but it's not even an air freshener. It's an anti-dust thing. So you
Hmm.
spray it if there's like a lot of dust in the air, and it's supposed to like make the dust settle down on the floor, and then you can like vacuum it up, and it just kind of like reduces
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. And apparently she thought she had to like dump it all and you know
There
commit
was a lot
chemical
of dust,
warfare.
Alex. There was
Apparently.
a lot of dust.
um all right. So anyway, broadcasting types. So we were talking earlier about how with the spawner you can now have players assigned to teams. So broadcasting to teams is now a feature. So you can say like 10 points to Gryffindor or whatever, and have that be part of your game mechanic. Rule system messages. Message out for any rule can now be messaged with an argument. This we were talking about this earlier, which can provide additional information with a message that can be used in another rule, for example. Okay, this is. I'm scrolling away so you can't see what the next thing is.
Hmm.
This is maybe not the sexiest feature. This is not. This is not a new behavior. This is not a new rule.
It's like a one-piece bathing suit with a parka over it, but it's still a bathing suit.
But it is the like the fluffiest, warmest, most functional parka,
Ooh,
and
love a good parka.
it it's super important and super needed, and anybody who's been doing more advanced stuff in a game or has a very large game with a lot of assets to deal with,
Okay.
this is a huge quality of life
I
improvement.
think
And
I know where you're going with this, and I'm excited.
I
Go on.
actually forgot that this was in here. Somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier, and I was like, we're not there yet. Well, now we're there. Organize, optimize, and debug. Powerful new tools and improvements to accelerate your creative workflow and build higher performance experiences. Manage assets and reuse rule sets. Hierarchy and rules system. The hierarchy panel update, a powerful new way to manage assets. Folder creation for better organization. Filters and sorting. New user interface and code to be more user friendly, stable, and reliant. Lock object logic to avoid mistakes. So now we can. Ooh, I was just trying to zoom into the picture and then it decided to take me over here. So now you can have folders which will, instead of having to like bundle logic as like parent children, you can also just have a folder to group assets together. So you could easily have like a grass folder. So that way, instead of scrolling through all the grass in your whole game trying to find where your logic assets are in all that grass,
We've all done that.
you can just put all the grass and all the rocks and all the trees in a folder and be like, these are decorations. They don't have any logic. They don't have anything going on. And then you collapse it and it's out of sight. Yes.
We're back on Twitter, by the way.
Oh, hey, Twitter. Welcome back to the party.
Twitter's back up and going.
Yeah.
It's live again. So
if
nice.
if you joined the giveaway, then you got a common catalyst. Because we hit
Bare
that 100
minimum.
mark and then we did the giveaway, so everybody got a common catalyst. You may have gotten something else if you heard the announcement of names that you may or may not have been in there. You'll get if you're gonna get stuff. You'll see when you get it. Um, Twitter doing Twitter things. So
As
now
it
you can
does.
also filter. So if you, I'm waiting for the GIF to like slow down so I can maybe. So you can
Can you
filter
yell at it?
by.
Stop.
Yeah, no, I wish I could just pause it, but it doesn't work that way.
Screenshot it when it comes to where you want.
It's fine. So this filter button, you can filter by component, tag, or behavior. So if you know that you're looking for a sound effect component, this has happened a bunch of times before. The available sound effects changed and it was causing a crash because somebody was using a sound effect that had been discontinued and the game maker was like, I can't load this because it's not here anymore. And they couldn't find where that sound component was, where that audio effect component was, because they had 1,000 assets in their game and they're like, I don't know which one I put the sound effect thing on anymore because I built this a while ago. You can now filter by component type and you can go like, show me all the objects that have a sound effect, and that makes life a lot easier. You can now sort. So sorting, I see custom order, date added, name, and I think instance ID was the other one. Type. So you could sort so all of a certain type of asset is together. All yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. I guess hierarchy for unparented objects is not super important. It doesn't matter which order they are in that list. So, sort it however you're going to sort it, and then all the children will still be under their parents after you do that. There's a bunch of new icons in here. So you can see the logic donuts. You can see the preset icon. You can see instances. There was another one in there. What was that? They all say things. One looked like a pin drop, and I'm not sure what that one was for. Maybe it was like a spawner or something, like a player spawn disc. Oh, I scrolled down. It's right there. Voxel objects,
There we
logic
go.
assets, and spawn points. That's what those are. Per object, you can focus, toggle visibility, and lock, so that way you cannot accidentally edit objects. When you attempt to edit a locked object, a tooltip will remind you to unlock it. And then view at a glance if an object has a behavior and or component applied. So golden for behaviors, blue for components, I believe. And so you'll be able to see just quickly scanning if there's any logic associated with those objects. 1 second. And we got the folders, create new folder, delete. We can right click an object to duplicate, delete, rename, lock, hide, or group. Organize objects by moving. We could do that before. Maybe it's more stable now. It definitely looks more clear that it's a higher contrast to this menu. It used to be a little, sometimes being able to tell between what you were like selected on and the other objects, the colors were kind of close together. Select assets and right click to create a group, copy multiple assets and drag and drop into a folder. This makes the folder act like a parent object, so you can select it and move the whole group of objects in the viewport at the same time.
Nice.
So it's like a parent object, except there's no actual logic associated with it. Just everything beneath has you control it all at the same time. That's awesome. I mean, that's massive quality of life for level designers there. Now you need a hide. I don't know if you can hide a. It doesn't look like you can hide a parent group. Like I'm not seeing an icon for it, but that would be pretty cool too. Well, you can right click. You can right click all the objects at once to hide at the same time. Logic actors are invisible, so the hide option is not listed. I think that would toggle the visibility of the objects. I'm not sure if that makes them all blue or if they actually hide. We'll have to see. I mean, we can test this out in a minute because all I have to do is fire up 0.10.6. Parent objects control child objects properties. Creating a parent-child relationship between objects can help with managing them as a group in builder mode and during gameplay. When you move or rotate the parent object in the viewport, the child object will follow. When you toggle visibility of the parent object in the viewport, the child object will also change. I wonder if you can still toggle visibility back on for the child object separately. I would think you could. Oh, I just got the email that 0.10 is released.
Boom, boom.
The community refreshing the page got to me faster than the email did. Create parent and child relationships. Click an object in the hierarchy, and that will be a child object, and then drag and drop it on top of another object in the list, and it will be its parent. I wonder, so this might just be because some of this might be the old information. I'm not sure. Yeah. Some of these articles are like the older information. This isn't specifically about the 0.10 update. This is about the hierarchy panel in general. So some of this information is probably the old stuff, and it just has the new graphics associated with it. But the stuff at the top was all new. Let's go back. Ooh. There we go. Where are we? Hey, there we are. Performance validators and logic counter. Confirm your experience matches your expectations. Ensure assets, logic, and blocks in your experience maximize gaming performance. Messages are logged in the activity logger so you can track validator runs over time. There's probably a lot to unpack here. But logic counter will count how many objects in your experience use certain behaviors and components to maintain optimal performance. So for a while, we've had the recommendation, when you select a behavior, it will say we recommend no more than 50 of this kind of behavior if you want optimal performance. But now we actually have a counter, which will tell you how many of those things, and you can expand the list, and it will show you how many of them you have. The rules logger. Rules communicate with object logic, so you'll need to play through your experience and trigger the objects that you wish to communicate with the rules you are debugging and gather data in the logger. First, however, you need to enable specific rules or rule sets for debugging. So we had this in 0.9 also. You could click the little bug icon, and it would track what was going on with that rule. Performance profiler. Note this item is not in the debug menu, but may be used with other debug tools for testing. You can press F11 and you'll get the little performance metrics that shows FPS, CPU, GPU, and RAM. We had that before, but it was kind of confusing to read, and I don't think it was entirely working correctly. So I can tell this is a new interface for that, so it looks like it'll be a lot better. And generate playtest link. I wonder if there's another.
You said FPS.
Frames per second.
Yeah. I was thinking
First-person shooter.
Is it? No, I was thinking of Sunblock.
FPS.
Yeah,
SPF.
I got it back. I got it backwards in my head. I was like, SPF. Why is he talking about Sunblock? Wait a second. Never mind. I'm gonna stop now.
Playing games at 10 to 20 FPS on a 3080. I'm usually playing over 30 FPS on a 2070. So I'm not sure what's up with the setup there. And I'm usually playing them on 4K also. But it depends on how efficiently it was built. Some games I do a lot of performance testing for experiences in the sandbox. So for most of the things that I've been testing for leading up to events, majority of them been playing over 30 FPS on a 2070 Super. There are some exceptions, and usually it had to do with the logic, not with the graphics. I was usually bottlenecking on the CPU. So it
Mm.
was meaning that people were putting in way too many NPC assets. Um, uh, like people look at like AAA games and like all the visual details in there, but they don't realize how much optimization goes into like all those blades of grass and all the leaves on those trees. There's a lot going on to make those things efficient. So if people are trying to mimic those sort of visual styles with voxels, a lot of times the artists are not really understanding how those optimizations work on higher end game engines. So you need to be careful with that kind of stuff. I tend to lean into the boxy style of voxels that gets me better performance on assets. Um,
Embrace the voxel.
yeah, and embrace the cubic lifestyle.
Mm.
Generate playtest link. Generate a playtest link for multiplayer experiences to test with friends and colleagues directly in the game. So now you can click this button and it will give you a link that you can share to people, and it just launches in the game client for them. You don't have to share to the game maker gallery. You don't have to tell people to find it and search for it and stuff. You can just give them this link, and as long as they have the game client installed, they'll be able to jump in a multiplayer instance with you without any other publishing going on. That's pretty cool for testing. Enjoy an elevated player experience, improved loading, multiplayer fixes, and improved ease of use and performance. Play faster. Overall loading and experience is 50% faster. Play with ease. The Sandbox launcher. Get into the metaverse faster than ever. Reduce download times. A seamless way to install and launch the Sandbox Alpha game client. So you can see that this launcher has Sandbox Alpha, Game Maker, and Vox Edit buttons on it. So everything's kind of consolidated into one installer now. Looks pretty snazzy too. Inventory, avatar change, explore and equip your avatars, updated to match the new art style. Linked to the website for players to discover and explore avatar collections. Update to support layer 2 minted NFTs. Not sure what that means there. I believe this means that we can change our avatars live in the game. I know that that was it. Oh, what did the thing say? It showed it on the screen. There was a thing. There was like a warning screen that came up, and I know this was in 0.9. If you tried to change your avatar while playing the game, it would give you a little warning that it was going to restart the experience for you. Change your avatar.
Cyber Dragon says spacebar is used to rotate camera now.
What does that mean? Oh, when editing in the game maker.
Sure.
So that we did mention that earlier, that that the controls have changed to be unified, so Mac and PC are the same, and there's no conflicts with shortcut keys with your system.
I may have been forming it up at that point.
This is exactly what we were talking about here. Oh, actually, this is for players. So controls at a glance, refined button layout, and intuitive controls visualization gives you the info you need to have fun. So attack and heavy charge is left click. Change camera distance, camera zoom on the wheel. Right click is parry. Enter is social. F12 is photo mode. That's the thing that hides like the map and the experience name in the chat. P is for season. O is for challenges or objectives, maybe. I is for inventory. L is for show life. M is for map. N is for NFT scan. Space is jump and emerge.
Ooh, like that.
V is change camera. Can we switch between first person and third person now? I feel like that was a thing in the presentation.
That would be
It
wonderful.
does say change camera with V.
That would be wonderful.
Crouch, crawl, and submerge with C. Oh, emerge as opposed to submerge. I've never heard of going up in water as emerge, but that's intriguing. I like that.
Emerging from the depths. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Dodge and sprint is shift, and then WACD for move and swim, E for interact, and F1 for controls. So, I mean, not a lot of these controls change, but at least the interface is easier to read. Enjoy sleek social tools. Emote wheel, new emotes and stickers, express yourself. New animated stickers above your avatar. These are pretty cute. I saw the staff artist team working on these, so that they did voxel art animations, but then they rendered it into these 2D stickers, and they look pretty cute. 16
like
new
it.
emotes, new moods category for organization, and new user interface animations. Chat and social improvements, improved readability and new user interface animations, chat bubbles and Gaussian blur, and improved stability. Navigate, improved user interface, welcome screen revamp, welcome your users with style, user interface improved for better readability, user interface animations added, improving quality and user experience, new creators profile picture added. Yeah, the loading screens look a lot prettier now. Session ending, suggested games, discover more experiences. The session ending now shows 4 featured experiences. Backend updated to increase this number in future versions. NFT gallery, explore the NFT gallery. UI UX redesigned to improve navigation and consistency with the marketplace. So you can see that the NFT gallery, looking at all the assets now, it looks the same as like the avatar selector and the equipment screen. It's snazzy. Now it shows relevant information and supports layer 2 minted assets. That one makes sense. So yeah, I think the layer 2 minted assets were not showing up on the NFT scanner before. Pop-up system, improved UI UX, unifying the different pop-ups across the product. So just all the pop-up menus look the same now. Notice the improved details, new animation system, new state-of-the-art features that improve avatar animations. So between walk, run, idle, and sprint, you can see there's also some quick turning animations. So
Nice.
Instead of snapping to the opposite direction, you should actually kind of turn around on your heels. Improved respawn, new sequence with elegant camera fade. Just doesn't just snap you back.
That guy's got a fancy walk.
New jump animation, improved avatar movement, and camera upgrade. Smart camera only moves when it needs to, keeps the avatar well framed. Smart platform snapping for smoother movement and less camera bounce. So it used to be that the camera followed you abruptly in a jump, and now the camera more slowly accelerates to keep you in the frame as you get to the top of it. So hopefully this will make platforming smoother, easier, and less motion sickness inducing for some people.
Question. Do you have any idea if custom button mapping is on the horizon?
It is not in this version.
Okay.
I did ask about that, and it's not in this one. System improvements, polished core gameplay systems for terrain synchronization and prevention of rubber banding from avatar movements. So some of the issues that we saw with players snapping onto moving platforms should hopefully be reduced. All right. That was the update log.
That's it. Works. No more.
Well, let's see what happens here. I don't know what's gonna happen, chat. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I do need to go in about 10 or so, but that doesn't mean you can't keep going. But I know you also have Maggie there, so.
Yeah.
When's Maggie gonna get a job? I mean, come on, Maggie. Stop being so lazy.
She's on spring break right now, so.
Even worse. She should have 2 jobs then.
Let me try something real quick here, cause
yeah.
I downloaded this earlier, so I may need to download the current version from the website.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah,
because science and whatnot.
Yeah, those things.
Those ones and zeros.
So if you want to download the Sandbox Game Maker that we've just been talking about for 2.5 hours, you can go right to the download page here. Downloading the launcher. It's not even the game maker, it's the launcher.
It's the little things, really.
It's only 3.7 megabytes.
What?
What?
How Force so small?
Well, it's a launcher.
You're a
So-
launcher.
It's
yeah.
So it's just the little bit, and then it has to download the other stuff. See, now it's downloading 244 megabytes.
Project site. Also, this is a small thing. I love that there's more use of like the color purple in there now. It looks really cool.
Ooh! I
It's
saw
really good.
Pixelville.
Oh.
It's got all this fancy stuff going on.
Hey,
in
that
the
was V's
launcher.
game.
Yeah. So this is Play the Sandbox. Where's the game maker?
Okay.
Where's the game maker? Download manager. Everything's up to date.
Oof. That robot's running from that tornado something fierce.
Maybe I needed to tell it to download. No, it should all be in the launcher. Maybe. Where's the game maker? Ooh, we can adjust our settings before. Whoa. Ah, it's cool having a launcher now. But where's my game maker?
You don't get one. You don't need it.
I don't get a game maker.
You don't need it.
Apparently. You can only game make if you game play. Maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know.
You need more badges, Alex.
Oh no. Not I have so many badges.
Game Maker is under create on the website.
Yeah, I thought it would be in the launcher though. Download Game Maker. Is it a separate launcher? I don't know.
Huh?
I can't wait to need Lukus as a voice actor for all my confused guard NPCs.
Oh man, I'm so in. I am so in.
I'm gonna throw a pebble.
Huh?
Who's there?
Bartholomew, did you hear that? Huh?
Must have been my imagination.
Huh? I heard nothing, Carl.
Bartholomew and Carl.
Two most common guard names. Yeah. Look it up. It's a fact.
Sansu says, "Love that screen background." Thank you. I've had this one for a while. I mean, I've changed to other things, but I keep on going back to this one.
It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Blue and orange are my favorite colors. I mean, I like all colors in different contexts, but blue and orange always satisfy something for me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where's the orange? I see blue and yellow.
I mean, this is a bright shade of orange, but I would call it orange still. I have a very narrow sense of what I call yellow before it becomes orange or green for me. What do you call my mouse cursor?
That would be orange.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the screen and all the different blocks, and all I see is like some of them I might categorize as like being close to beige almost. But yeah, most of it just looks yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
Am I colorblind?
no, I think I personally am restrictive on what I call yellow.
Okay, fair enough.
It's anything more orange than I mean, even a school bus is bordering on orange for me.
Oh.
Like
See, that's
macaroni
like
and
the
cheese.
definition of yellow to me.
Yeah, when I think yellow, I think pure yellow, like
Like the sun.
the
Fun to
sun.
stare at that thing.
The sun is white, um, and don't stare at it.
Don't tell me what to do.
um,
we we were watching the news before the eclipse, and it was like every channel we changed to, the news anchors were like, "Do not stare at the sun," and they were saying it in a way where it was like they just gotten done talking to somebody who was staring directly at it for so long they were blind. Like they were all angry about it or a little frustrated, and it was the funny. I was like, "Go to another channel. Go to another channel." So we're like flipping from channel to channel, and it was just every single one of them at one point was like, for the love of God, don't stare at the sun. Please, please don't do this. Just, it's not good for you. And it was hysterical.
it's extra funny to me because I actually remember staring at the sun a lot when I was a kid. I don't know why I'm not blind, and I think it's because they've all been lying to you. But no, the real reason is probably I have like really freakishly long eyelashes, and I think my safety squints are like extra good.
No.
What? What do you mean no?
Just no.
I don't know what part are you saying no to?
All of it. I don't think there's such thing as a safety squint. If you look at the sun, unless you're looking through your skin, it's too much.
But I'm not blind though.
You know what, Alex? You are the next step in human evolution. Everybody that's a step below Alex, don't look at the sun.
I do remember there being a lot of moments in my childhood where I'd be like, oh, 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 it makes cool like green streaks when I like look around at it. and then it would be burned into my retina for like 30 seconds, and then it would go away. And I please don't look at the sun. Like I did dumb things when I was 5 years old. Like don't.
What? Nobody did dumb things as a kid. No one ever. Oh man, look at the opening screen all the way to the left, middle. That's an angry robot, and I'm into it.
That is a very angry robot.
He is so mad about somebody must have stolen some of his RAM.
Oh, there's new music. I forgot. They didn't talk about this. There's new music.
I can't hear it. Unmuting Twitch. It's so angelic. Majestic, even. I mean, this score was clearly made by John Williams, so.
Nope. No, it was actually made by our in-house music director. And
well, the in-house music director
this was recorded by a real orchestra.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. It sounds amazing. I didn't know Sandbox had a music director. I mean, it makes sense.
I met him in Canada.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Benjamin.
That's one of those behind-the-scenes heroes. Yeah. What's their name? Do they have a Twitter
Benjamin.
account?
I don't remember his last name. Beladi. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. It's Beladi. Benjamin Beladi. Cool guy. I didn't get enough of a chance to talk to him as I wanted to because I got COVID when I was in Canada. But yeah, and then it repeats.
Benjamin
But yeah,
Malati.
Yeah, and John Crow. Now I know they did a video feature on the symphony for this one, but is that published anywhere yet? Is that, or are you just saying that because you saw it behind the scenes of somewhere? Because I know I saw it in the staff AMA, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's.
Who are you
available.
asking that question to?
It was in the pre-thing we saw last week. Was that for like builders, like an exclusive for builders? I'm just wondering if this is something that is available to the public yet, because I don't know.
Oh, the music you're listening to.
There was they did a video recording of the orchestra and the conducting and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Did anybody test climbing yet? I haven't done anything yet. We're gonna jump in here real quick.
I mean, Alex is testing climbing right now, as you can see. It's just a little bit of a lag in the video.
Just a little bit.
By like 15 minutes.
You have 15 minutes?
No, I said by like 15 minutes.
Oh.
I've got. Actually a few minutes over, but I've got like another 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna close it off here after we just see what it's like in here. We're just gonna soak it in.
After we open the door, we're gonna peek in, give it a little look.
There was some other music in there during the loading that was a little different. So let's hit play. We now have the map in the Game Maker, which we didn't have before. F11 to profiler. Lukus is kind of hiding it. We're gonna move Lukus. Whoop. Wrong way, Lukus. There you go. So you can see quick change in direction. Well, that doesn't make a huge difference. It's a little bit different. V, no. Okay, so the V key is not changing the view. Maybe there's another setting for that, or maybe that's just something that's not enabled yet. And you can see if we're zoomed out, the camera actually doesn't change at all. So if we're zoomed in too close, it's a little weird. Maggie's knocking on my door for some reason. She could just open it and come in if she wanted to. I think she broke down the door.
Good for her. Good exercise. Stay healthy.
We got our slide. We got this. Hi. Okay, we're almost done. And let's see. What
So
there was
bottom
something
right
I was.
Oh, never mind.
There was something I was going to check out, wasn't there?
Test climbing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Ladder. Oop. Ladder. And okay, I see the snapping here. Quick, let's test if we can duplicate on the grid.
Oh wow.
Yes!
Oh wow.
Nice. Snaps to the grid. Oh, that's oh, I'm so happy with that. Add
so
component.
cool.
We're gonna climb. The menus are nice. They've got little bounces to them now. So we got climb speed on there, edit logic, any difference there? No. Okay, we hit play, and I'm able to climb. Now, if you're editing an experience you had made before, you may need to like turn things on or off again. I'm not sure, but it seems like that's working correctly. And look at that, you can build your ladder so much faster now. So yeah, climbing seems to work fine for me. Let's see. Let's check if the player settings. Ooh, this is different. Okay, we got player model. Custom avatar. We can change. We can still change to whatever we want. Controller settings. Swimming enabled. Oxygen. Fall damage. PVE enabled. What?
Mhm.
What? What is
Turn it on.
PVE means player versus
Turn it on
everything.
right now.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. Let's change this back to something that we can control better. What does PVE mean in this context?
I was gonna
Becky's
say
back. Becky, you fed your children. You fed your children the meatloaf. Now tell me, what is PVE in this
She said,
context?
open the spawn point for non-global player settings. And then she said, just lurking.
So use persistent equipment, override equipment.
Oh, PVE means players versus enemy.
Isn't that what it always was? I don't understand how that's different. Assign team, tags for the team. You can define all the equipment. Okay, so interesting. The settings are here instead of being up here where they used to be. That's cool. But I still don't.
Bartholomew asks, does that enable attack in multiplayer?
I don't know.
This
Well,
is going to
I
require
guess
some experimentation.
generate link.
Hmm?
Generating a link so everybody who has the game client installed can find out. I feel like that would be, I think multiplayer combat would be big enough to warrant
News
putting, yeah.
and email. They just snuck it in there like, merp. See if anybody notices.
This is where that link takes you.
Come play with Kamisaze's Ladder of Doom.
I've got creepy hands behind me.
They're not creepy. They're perfectly petite and maybe a little creepy.
Oh, careful. What happened? I think she like dove to duck out of the view.
We've all done that before. Reminds me of the opening scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Boyle like drops his muffin and he's like bending over to pick up his muffin and he bangs his head on the counter and he's like, ow, my head. And then he steps on his muffin. He's like, ow, my muffin in my head.
So Coaster Tobencraft, do we need to update experiences already published in 0.9.11 to 0.10 so they work with the new launcher? I don't believe so. For the past few versions, I mean, you can test it. It's easy enough to test. Just download the new game client and see if your 0.9 experience launches in it. Okay, so I shared this as a multiplayer experience. Can anybody else connect to this? Because I am swiping my sword in multiplayer. If this is actually multiplayer. Somebody's going to have to join this link with me. I shared the link in the chat. If we can attack each other, that should have been at the top of the update list.
Dr. Metaverso is currently installing and he will join as soon as he can.
Okay.
I know that Escape Room Artist was working in it, so I'm assuming they have already downloaded it.
Becky
So
said it's not
Escape Room Artist,
PvP, but I did share this as a multiplayer experience. I think.
Mm.
Test fighting an
an
enemy.
enemy.
Mm.
Ooh. Yo, Maggie's got an account, right? Get her in there. Throw her on a computer.
Um. Oh, I just heard somebody running.
Hmm?
Aha!
Huh?
Oh,
Huh? Huh?
I can see their attacks.
Huh?
Okay, so we
Wait, your screen is black. Okay, there we go. It's back.
we what? Okay, so we can't attack each other, apparently,
You can attack an enemy.
but we can attack
Together.
enemies in
Big bad boss guy.
I didn't test it yet because the generate link wasn't live yet. What? Okay, guys, everybody, jump out of here. We're gonna put a boss in here. We're gonna dragon. Alpha dragon is going down. Let's put him away from the spawn because reasons. So the thing that I'm wondering, like, when they wander around, they probably won't be lining up to the same point. So that's going to cause collision issues, unless they fix that also. So let's make this guy multiplayer.
Let's say less talky, more dewy. Come on, man.
Yeah. We're doing synchronized. So there's still no multiplayer NPC. I will point that out.
Okay.
There's no multiplayer NPC, but we can still give him health.
And you can toggle that switch.
And well, it was already on, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, player. So PVE usually means player versus everything, because there's PvP, which is player versus player, and then there's PvE, which is player versus everything, meaning like you can fight enemies in the world.
I thought it was player versus everyone.
That would be PvP, player versus player.
Hmm. Your system is just full of holes.
All right, we're gonna give him a lot of health, and we're gonna generate a link. Copy, and we're gonna paste that in the chat. And
Estimated time for expiration of link 40 minutes.
oh, you know what? I wonder, do we have to save it again? I actually don't know how this part works. I guess we'll find out.
I would say you probably have to save it again, because that link was counting down from the time when it previously stated, like when you saved it the first time or when you shared it the first time.
Right. So we saved again. Let's see what happens if we copy. And let's see.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it gave the old thumbnail with the ladder. So let's see if this one. Yeah, okay. So this one, is this the same link though?
Drop it in the chat and I'll see.
Well, I'm just gonna scroll back. 4B7F.
4B7F. Yeah, that's the last 4 in the
4B7F.
original one.
It's the same one. Sweet. So I think you just have to reload.
Okay.
You just have to click the link again, or click play again. You can access games from the launcher. This is the biggest release yet. I'm only just scratching the surface. Yeah. It's awesome. This is really cool. This is a lot of like the hey, where's the dragon? Okay. So maybe
that crafty dragon's invisible. You better watch out.
Maybe there's some other quirks to work out with that. But Oh, I'm so hyped. Maybe can we force the expiration of the old? Ooh, it crashed. Maybe. Oh nope,
It's a dragon coming.
it just lagged for a second. All right, but Lucas has got to get going. I've got a child being all wild.
As children do.
Oh, you cannot generate another link until this one expires. Estimated time for expiration will trigger after its first use. Okay, so I think this means that maybe we can't test a change until 45 minutes later. And that might be to prevent overloading the system with constant little mini updates.
I mean, kind of smart.
Oh, but I am curious, like if we attack an object with health in multiplayer, hit that up. If we attacked an object with health in multiplayer, oh, it's going to take me a while to get used to the spacebar rotation instead of alt. Oh, there's so much. Okay, we're going to raid Andy. He's messing around with 0.10. Ask Andy your questions and have him figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go raid Andy. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have fun with 0.10. I know that I'm about to. Oh, boy. I went from just a couple weeks ago making free-for-all first-person shooter in the sandbox to now I might actually be able to be using Raycasting and teams in a first-person shooter. I'm so hyped. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lucas. We will see you.
Thank you.
Well, I won't be here Saturday. I check on Twitter. The stream schedule might be weird for the next few days. We'll see you next
Panda
time.
said we were streaming on Saturday, so I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Fun.